So I understand that. So why is it when it says the only God?
Yeah.
So why
God.
I understand that you could take it out of context, but can you just tell me the correct context?
I don't think you want to know the answer. Do you really want to know?
No, I sincerely
Come
do.
on, man. You're not pulling my leg, are you?
No.
Okay.
I'm very
All right,
honest. I'm
let
not
me
here
walk
to
you through
attack
it.
or defend anything. I'm just here to clarify a couple of things.
When the Muslims bring up these attacks, notice how inconsistent they are. I'll give you an example. Oh, Aaron building the golden calf. This is haram. These stories are corrupt. Okay. But isn't it amazing? When you talk about what Muhammad did, it's no longer sin. For example, when Muhammad does muta and abrogates it, they'll still say that's nothing wrong with it. Let's see. I'm taking a chance. Hello?
Hello?
You said that you want to talk, not tack. Let's see if that's true. I don't know. Like the other Muslim I was talking to, he's very nice. I hope we're going to have that's how it's going to be. But if you're going to attack and mock, it's not going to last long. What's going on?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I hear that you...
I've heard your voice, man. You've been on Christian Prince's channel, haven't you?
No.
Come on, man.
No, I have not.
Be honest, man.
No, I have not.
Right.
I'm telling the truth.
Okay, well, let's see. Ask me your first question. Go ahead. First question. This is how you set people up when you don't want to defend your religion. But go ahead. What's your first question?
No, I'm asking questions. I've been here a few times, and I see your approach, which would be, I hear that people ask questions, and then you end up responding with, I'm saying, okay, but you have that in your religion. So something like.
No, that's not how I answer. So you're misrepresenting again. See again, no. I don't do what's called the two-koki. I answer and then I turn it against you. So when you ask me a question, I'm going to answer you, but then I'm going to turn it against your deen. That's only fair. But go ahead.
Okay, I agree. So something like John 17:3, for example. I understand that the concept of verses wasn't there in the beginning, and then people have put that in there.
No, I don't get what you're saying. You're speaking too fast. You're nervous. Calm down. It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
John 17:3 what?
Yeah.
What verses were not there?
That the concept of verses was added in later. So,
what verses were added later?
Like the concept, one, first, second, third verse. It's more like paragraph, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. The versification. Okay, forget about it. Just ask me about John 17:3. You want to ask me about that?
So I understand that. So why is it when it says the only God? Yeah. So why? I understand that you could take it out of context, but can you just tell me the correct context?
I don't think you want to know the answer. Do you really want to know?
No, I sincerely do.
Come on, man. You're not pulling my leg, are you?
No.
Okay.
I'm very.
All right,
honest.
let me walk you through.
I'm not here to attack or defend anything. I'm just here to clarify a couple of things.
Friend, listen. If you're going to ask sincere questions, I'll answer. But like I said, when you have Muslims who come in and attack and mock, I'm an insult. So don't be upset at me when I do that. But you look like you're asking. Let's do John 17. Now, obviously, John 17 is a prayer that starts at verse 1. So I'm going to break it down for you, right? Now, let me break it down if you don't mind. Let's see if you really want to listen, okay?
Okay.
So now, let me just ask my partner if he's going to post verses for me. Hey, first, last, are you here?
I'll up with you too.
Oh, you got a Bible with you?
I'm just gonna go online.
My man, what version you want to use? I mean, it's an English version, obviously, but which one do you use when you study the Bible?
I use the Arabic version.
Oh wow, good. Then I have some questions about the Arabic Quran later, but we'll stay here. Okay. Hey, first and last, are you here? First and last. Just want to see if he's here. If not, okay. John 17 verses 1 to 3. Let's take it one at a time. And as he's doing that, let me get something to drink, brother, because I don't sleep anymore. I'm like a zombie. So let me get something to drink. Hold on. Okay, zombie, zombie. Okay, let's go. All right. John 17 verses 1, 2, and 3. Let's stop. Okay, it says, and looking up to heaven, Jesus prayed, Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son, that your Son may glorify you. Okay, now, before we move on, you got to be honest with me here.
Yes.
Can a prophet say, Allah, glorify me so that I can glorify you? Glorify me the way I glorify you?
I don't think so.
Secondly, do you agree Jesus is the Son of God, whom God glorifies in the same way the Son glorifies him?
Within the context of your belief, yes.
Now I'm talking about you as a Muslim who's quoting John 17:3, because not just my belief. My belief, yeah, I know he's the Son of God.
Yeah, but what is on paper? Yes, I agree.
Is if I were to read this and I was looking at Islam and Christianity. Would I be convinced Muhammad is a prophet, reading Jesus saying he is the Son whom God glorifies in the same way that the Son glorifies him, when Muhammad rejects that?
No,
Okay, good. So far you would.
It's very conflicting.
Good. Now then it says, you have given him authority over all flesh. Now again, Jesus has authority over all flesh. Everything that's flesh, you and me, belongs to Jesus, is under the control, sovereignty, the lordship. This is what we call rububiyyah, authority over all flesh. That means even Muhammad is under Jesus. Now, again, if I'm a Christian, or not a Christian, forget Christian, I'm reading the Bible and the Quran, and I'm not Christian Muslim, and I look at what Jesus says here, would I conclude that Muhammad is teaching the same thing that Jesus teaches in John?
No, of course not.
Okay, so, and then it says, and have given him authority over all flesh, that he may, the Son may, give everlasting life to all those whom you give him. You see that in verse 2?
Oh, I see. I thought that he was for the Father.
No, read it again. It says,
okay.
You have given him, you, Father, have given him, who's him, the Son, authority over all flesh, that he may give everlasting life to all whom you have given him. So who gives everlasting life?
The Son.
Okay, now, what kind of power must someone have to take believers, all believers from all time, and give them the life that never ends and make them deathless and incorruptible?
It has to be divine.
Okay. Then we come to, and this is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom you have sent. And Father, I have glorified you by finishing the work that you sent me to do on earth. Now, Father, glorify me together with yourself, with the glory I had with you before the world was. So, if I read verses 1 to 5, Jesus affirms the Father is the only true God, and he is, but that he's the Son who is one with the Father in his glory and in his divine power to do what only God can do, unless you believe a creature besides God can give everlasting life to all believers throughout all history. Does a creature do that according to the Bible?
No.
No. So why are Christians wrong to assume, yes, of course Jesus is going to acknowledge the Father is the only true God. What kind of God is the Father? A fake God?
So you're saying in that context, it's comparing it to like pagan gods?
He's not saying that he's the only true God to the exclusion of the Son. He just told you he's the Son who is glorified by the Father, the same way the Father is glorified by the Son. He's the Son who can do what only God does, give everlasting, deathless life to all believers, and the Son who shares the same glory with the Father even before the world was created, something not said of any angels or humans in the Bible.
Right, and it also talks about him being existent before anything else.
That's right there. So that's why Christians, when you keep going, maybe to you it convinces you Jesus can't be God. To us it doesn't, because we read context.
Right, and that's what I was asking for, was context, because I wasn't able to find an answer that made sense to me at the time, so I thought I'd ask you.
All right. Now, what's your follow-up question to John 17? Feel free. Don't be intimidated. Ask me.
Okay, well, I have a comment, because I have the Arabic version and the English version, and when you were saying the word glorify, in Arabic, it's yumajid, which can be like Majid, which is one of the names. Somebody could be Abdul Majid. So
Majid.
I see your point.
And the Arabic is even stronger, right? Yeah. Okay. So here you're admitting, and I'm glad you're being honest with my scripture, like you want me to be honest with your Quran. You just admit it comes from Majid, one of the names of Allah, and Jesus saying that he possesses that glory, Majd, that Allah, or the Father, I should say, possesses. Yes. So there's nothing in verses 1 to 5 that show us that Jesus is not God, but a creature separate from God. In reality, it shows that he must be God to say what he says, to share in the glory of the Father and do what only God can do. Give never-ending, deathless life to all believers.
Okay, I see. So why then would it just say you, the Father? Why would it give that sort of exclusion? Inclusion.
Because the Son, part of being the Son, acknowledges who the Father is, just like the Father acknowledges who the Son is. Because if you go now to Hebrews chapter 1 in your Bible, there now the Father calls Jesus God and says that Jesus is Lord, the Rabb, who created the heavens and the earth.
I'm sorry, Hebrew what?
Hebrews chapter 1, verses 8 to 12. Hebrews chapter 1, verses 8 to 12. So this is what they do. The Son acknowledges who the Father is and praises him for that. The Father acknowledges who the Son is and praises him for that. And then Jesus says, even the Spirit glorifies me, as did Jesus. But we'll get to that. But in Hebrews 1, now you have Arabic. You know, in your Arabic Bible, the Father calls Jesus Ya Allah.
In what? In
Hebrews
which verse?
1, verse 8.
Sorry, you said 1 through 8?
In chapter 1, verse 8.
Okay, verse 8. Okay, let me see.
There, in your Arabic Bible.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It says ولكنه يخاطب الابن قائلا إن عرشك يا الله ثابت إلى أبد الآبدين.
So do you believe
he
the
says
Father?
Ya Allah, it's the Father talking to the Son.
Yeah, do you believe the Father is saying Jesus is Allah, Ya Allah? Do you accept that he's calling him Ya Allah, the God, Ha Theos?
Within that context, yes. So in Greek, what is the word?
Theos. It's the God. Ha Theos, the God, which in Arabic is Ya Allah.
I see it in my version. Yes.
Yes. And then if you read in 10, who's speaking to who? In verse 10, it's still the Father speaking to the Son. Do you see what the Father says to the Son? He says, at the beginning, O Lord. So now not only does he call him Allah, he calls him Rabb.
Yes, you're right. كما يقول أنت يا رب.
أنت يا رب. But what did that Rabb do? He laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of his hands.
Yes, you laid the foundation of the earth in the beginning, and the heavens are the creation of your hands.
Wait, so the Father is saying Jesus created the heavens and the earth. Interesting.
Yes, and it says it will go away. Like tafna, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Like it
will wear out.
Destroyed
You'll
or and
wear
then
out.
you will stay.
Yes, exactly. But you remain. They will wear out, but your years are the same. Right? You remain the same and yours never end. So the Father just called Jesus Allah, called him Rabb, and said, you the one who created the heavens and the earth, you will wear them out, they will wear out, you remain the same, your years never end. So to us, that's what we expect to find. Jesus acknowledging who the Father is and praising him for that, and the Father acknowledging who the Son is and praising the Son for that.
Okay.
See? So keep asking me. Go ahead.
Does clear up a lot.
Ask me more.
I'm sorry?
Ask me more questions. Go ahead. Feel free. Because you look like you're not here to fight and mock.
I really sincerely want to learn because I've watched a few videos from the Sira international videos that you've done with Abdel Fadi.
Yes.
And I've been trying to absorb it because I'm not really very, like, I am a little knowledgeable, but not to the point where I've wanted to be an apologist. So, like, I've seen how you debated a few people like Yahya and a few other people, and I don't disagree that the word ahad doesn't really mean necessarily one person. I understand that part.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying,
and
I'm sorry that you have to see me debate these Muslims because they do not respect their own religion, let alone mine, and they resort to insults. Why I have to insult them? But they need to take the warning of 618 of the Quran where it says, do not insult their gods, lest they insult Allah in their ignorance. But they don't care. But anyway, forget that. You were saying, go on with your point.
Oh, thank you. So I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to make sort of an analogy for the Trinity, but not go into modalism.
Yes.
So
can I give you an Islamic comparison? I don't mean to cut you off. I want to help you wrap your mind that if you, I don't know, if you're traditional Sunni Muslim and you're Ahl Sunnah wa Jama'ah, if you actually subscribe to that Aqidah, whether it's Ash'ari or Maturidi or Athari, you're not a Shia.
Never went into that. No, Sunni, but I've never been gone into Ash'ari and all that.
If you ask any of the ulama, the scholars of Sunni Islam, whether they're Salafi or it doesn't matter, they'll tell you the Quran is Kalam Allah. And then also you have in the Quran, Ruh Allah, the Spirit of Allah. Now, if you watch my shows, you've seen me discuss this. Now, the thing is, the Quran, when I tell Muslims, and I don't want to talk about Quran, I want to talk about the Bible. So if you have questions about the Bible, let me just make this point real quick. The
Yes.
Quran, it's a speech of Allah, it's kalam Allah, it's one of his sifat, one of his attributes, so it's uncreated. But then I ask the Muslim, is the Quran Allah? They'll say no. So then I say, okay, so is the Quran uncreated? Yes. So if it's not Allah, it's uncreated, that's two. They'll say, no, no, no. It's the word of Allah. Okay, so, but it's not Allah. No, it's not Allah. So then the Quran is not Allah, and therefore it's uncreated. So Allah and the Quran, they're not the same, that's two. Then they'll tell me, well, it's not separate from him. The Quran's not separate from him. So then I ask a follow-up question. If it's not separate from him, then when it became a book, a kitab, then Allah became a book because you can't separate the Quran from Allah. And they'll say, no, 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 no. Allah did not become a book. So then the Quran is separate from him.
Yeah.
You see the problem?
Yes, I do. And I also see the problem with the qira'at, like with Yasser al-Qadi made the video of, okay, if it's eternal, then which version is the eternal version?
See? So you got the Muslims who've been attacking Christianity for years, using these arguments, it's now being turned against them. Because why? Our Bible says something. It says, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, he shall reap. Meaning, when you keep mocking the true God and you keep insulting him and his word and attack his people, the day will come where he will turn it against you. And the day has come. Now, everything the Muslims were saying about the Bible and about our God is now being turned against them. Because before, in the 90s, they would boast, Quran perfect, perfectly preserved, not like your Bible corrupt. And now you got Yasser Qadi saying to Muhammad Hijab, don't press me, Ya Muhammad, please. It's troubles. Oh, and then Shabir Ali saying, well, originally they didn't memorize the actual wording of the Quran. They just gave the gist, the message, and later... Wow. Now you guys are singing a different song because the evidence is against you. See what happens when you mock the true God?
Yeah, yeah.
He laughs right back at you. See, that's what God does.
Well, you know what's funny is all the stuff that Yasser Qadi talked about and how he's saying, you know, there are holes in the narrative. What they taught us in school, and they said, okay, the makhtutat Sana'a, I don't know how to say it in English, the manuscripts from Sana'a. Yeah, they were like, this confirms 100% that it's original, 100% wording, 100% authentic. But then we ask, okay, where's the proof? And then they're just like, no, it's there. You know, believe us.
Just believe us.
You know, look it up. Yeah, and then that's really how it goes. So, and then to go into my next questions is in our part of the world we have Al Azhar. You know, the Al Azhar Mosque or university. They have YouTube channels and they make a lot of videos attacking the Bible in certain ways that they take certain like passages and twist them, like John 17:3, for example. Mm-hmm. They do that, and then there's this story with Aaron and the golden calf, and they're like, well, how can somebody like Aaron do that? It was El Samiri, but then you go into history and El Samiri didn't even exist, or those kind of people didn't exist. Yeah. And then they have the Jacob and Esau and that thing, and then they make fun of the story and they say, how could this be holy? So those kind of things I don't really know how to explain to myself, because I'm not very attached to what I've been raised on, because I now realize that the narrative that I've been given has been it's not honest.
Yeah, now
what we've been told in school.
Yeah, when the Muslims bring up these attacks, notice how inconsistent they are. I'll give you an example. Oh, Aaron building the golden calf. This is haram. These stories are corrupt. Okay, but isn't it amazing when you talk about what Muhammad did, it's no longer sin. For example, when Muhammad does muta and abrogates it, they'll still say that's nothing wrong with it. So notice, when Muhammad does something evil, it's not evil because he did it. But if someone in the Bible does something evil and that God condemns, say that's not a true story. The prophets would never do evil. So now you try to convince me. When Muhammad tells his companions, go and marry a woman for 3 days and then divorce her and pay her money, prove to me that's not prostitution. Or when Muhammad in Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 24, Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 24, it says, unlawful for you are married women, except those whom your right hands possess. Then I go to Sunan Abu Dawud, and then the other hadith, even Sahih Muslim. Mm-hmm. And I'm told that when they went to the battle of Autas, okay, The Muslim men
Right.
were burning with lust, sexual desire, but their wives were not there. So they told Muhammad, should we castrate ourselves? He goes, I'm sorry. Yeah, he goes, should we castrate ourselves?
Yeah,
That's
naqsi.
muta.
Yeah,
That's muta.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I got see too many hadiths. No, this one was, they saw beautiful women from Otas, beautiful women, but they were married and they felt ashamed. Then the ayah came down saying, don't worry about it. These are women that your right hand possess. You can sleep with them even though their husbands are alive. Now, we would call that rape and adultery, and we'd call that prostitution. Now, which professor from that university, Al-Azhar, would say that is rape, that is zina, adultery, that's prostitution, and Muhammad sinned?
No, none.
Oh, but they'll attack the Bible.
Right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And what about the story? And then if you have questions about the Bible, ask me. Feel free to ask me. But what about the story?
Okay.
Zayd, let me leave you with this one point. Zayd.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Okay, Zayd. Muhammad adopts Zayd. They call him Zayd ibn Muhammad. Now then, Muhammad marries him to Zainab, even though she didn't want to marry him. Then one day he goes to her house. He sees her without the veil, and he says, praise be to Allah who turns the hearts. Zayd realizes, my father now desires my wife. So he goes to his prophet and he says, I'll divorce her for you. Look at his love for his prophet. I'll divorce her. No, don't do that. And he divorces her anyway. And then the ayah comes down saying, you hid in your heart what Allah is about to reveal, that when Zayd finishes with her, you can marry her as an example for other men to marry the wives of their adopted sons. So Muhammad lusts for a married woman. The man divorces her, then he marries that married woman who is the son, who is the wife of his son. Then he says, I do this as an example that if you have an adopted son and he divorces his wife, you can marry her. Now, brother, let me ask you a question. How would you feel if you're living at that time? I'm your adopted father, and you have a woman, you're sleeping with her, you divorce her. I marry her, now she's your mother. The very woman you saw naked, the very woman you slept with, the very woman you did sexual acts with, now you have to view her as your mother.
Well, now that you put it this way, it's very uncomfortable. We don't really think about it. We don't put ourselves in that scenario, I guess.
You see?
So,
and this is a man
right.
who's supposed to be an example. A woman that I had naked in my bed, I was sleeping with her. Now I have to see her as my mother. But then, and I'll leave you with this, then you can ask me questions. Then they start making fun of him. Look at you, you took your son's wife. Then the ayat come down. Do not call them your sons. Call them after their fathers. And if you don't know who their fathers are, then they are your patrons.
Your brothers.
Yes, okay. So Muhammad first said, I'm doing this so that other men can marry their adopted son's divorced wife. Then he abolishes adoption. So what example did he set when Allah knew he's going to abolish adoption?
Yeah, you're right.
And then
it's a very bad example.
Okay, but then explain to me what an inhumane and unmerciful practice. You destroy adoption so that in future generations, women who can't have children and orphans who don't have parents can never be adopted, so that a woman can have a child as their own through adoption, or an orphan can have parents whom he can call parents through adoption because of what your prophet did. And you want us to respect him?
No, that's right. They say it's because اختلاط الأنساب, which means like intermixing of the DNA of people, and not the DNA, like intermixing of people, which is, I mean, it's not really an excuse. It's more just like, this is the best we could come up with.
They can't have, because, okay, now let's say, all right, why didn't Allah then abolish adoption before Muhammad took his adopted son's wife and embarrassed himself? Why he said, no, he's going to do this so other men can do the same thing with their adopted son's wife, and only abolish it after Muhammad did this and was being embarrassed and humiliated by people. But anyway, with that said, what's your questions about the Bible? Feel free to ask me.